Fashion Emergency Hotline.
Help! I got rid of all my clothes.
Breathe and explain.
During Fashion Week, everyone looked fantastic, so I decided I needed a new wardrobe.
Well, strut to Old Navy.
Old Navy?
Yes, they have gorgeous floral tops and super on-trend pixie pants to turn your sidewalk into a catwalk. And right now, pixie pants are just $25.
$25?
Yep. Right now, pants and tops at Old Navy are 30 to 50% off.
30 to 50% off? Amazing. Thank you.
Don't thank me. Thank Old Navy. Valid 9/15 to 9/23. Excludes denim and active pants.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Florida Boy Sports. I'm Steve O'Reilly, joined with my partner in crime, Fabian Washington, as always. Fabo, how you doing tonight, my main man?
What's up, Steve-O? We're going to rock out and give these people a good show tonight.
Yes, sir. It's crazy to think how far we've come. Friday nights back in the day, we used to be out living the dream, and now we're chilling just talking football. We've gotten old, haven't we?
We're becoming adults.
Exactly. Hey, that's a good thing. All right, let's jump right in and talk some football. Obviously, last night we saw a little Rex Ryan at his worst. I'm not going to say at his finest because it definitely wasn't his finest hour. The Jets and the Bills up in Buffalo. The Jets had their way with the Bills, and the Bills turned around and fired their offensive coordinator today, which we'll talk about in a little while. But first, let's preview the game, talk a little bit about what you saw and exactly where the Bills go from here. What do you think? Give us your recap of the game last night, Fabe.
My recap is what I saw was the Jets actually manhandled the Bills, man. I'm talking about in every facet of the game. You know, the Bills, the way the Bills scored was off explosive plays. They got a deep ball down the sideline, Revis. They scored off I think it was a return fumble, things of that nature. They really couldn't get anything going offensively or defensively. They just looked bad to me. You know, coming into the season, I really thought that secondary was going to be phenomenal. You know, Gilmore and Darby, but they just didn't look comfortable last night. It was receivers running wide open. Fitzpatrick threw for 374. Eric Decker had an amazing game. He had 126 and a touchdown. Brandon Marshall, 101 yards. Quincy Enunwa, 91 yards. It just kept going on and on and on. It just seemed like they couldn't stop him in the running game or the passing game. The Jets looked like the Jets to me. Smash mouth team, going to play good defense. But the thing that I was super impressed by was their passing game. Fitzpatrick looked great, and the Bills secondary, I'm sad to say it because I thought that was going to be it looked like Swiss cheese. People were open. It was holes everywhere in that defense, man. That's my take from the game, Steve.
Well, it looked like, you're right, the secondary for the Bills looked like they either had a lot of miscommunications or they just got flat out beat. You know, you alluded to the third receiver for the Jets, and I think if he becomes the weapon that he showed last night, then the Jets' passing offense is going to be that much tougher because you got Brandon Marshall, you got Eric Decker, and how do you pronounce his name? I don't want to mispronounce it. I think it's Enunwa.
Quincy Enunwa. You know, he's a Nebraska Cornhusker. Get it right now.
Okay. That's why I asked. I knew you would know. So, you know, if this guy plays as well as he did last night, I don't think the Bills were ready for him. I think he threw a wrinkle in the plans, and I think Darby was trying to peak a little bit and come off of his guy, and that's when they went back to Decker, and Decker was just shredding them. So it looked like to me that third receiver really put a wrinkle in the plans that the Bills weren't expecting. And when Fitzpatrick stopped fumbling the ball, which he was doing quite a bit early, you know, they looked really tough to beat on offense. And you know that the front seven for the Jets is tough, and they're going to always bring their lunchbox and their hard hat and make it a tough day on the offense. So if this team can put together those kind of offensive numbers, the Jets are going to be a tough out in the AFC. I don't care who they play. I know they got a tough division with the Patriots. I know the AFC East is getting better, but to me, the Jets were very impressive. And like you said, Darby, to me, looked like the weakest link. He was getting just picked on. I mean, he looked lost at times. He looked like he was just not capable of keeping up with Decker, who was wide open at certain points of the ball game. And, like I said, I don't know if it was a lack of communication with the secondary, a lack of communication with the safeties, just a overall bad game plan. I don't know what, but Rob Ryan had a forgettable
Yeah,
night, and then they turn around and fire the offensive coordinator today.
that was a shocker. That was a shocker on many levels to me, just because of how early it is. It's like you can't go into panic mode after 2 games, good or bad. We see teams every year start off bad and finish great, and we see teams that come out the box 2-0 that end the season terrible. I felt like that was a panic move on the part of Rex, and he has to let the offensive coordinator figure it out. But now they can't really change their offense because it's too late in the game to do that. So you have to pretty much run the same plays that you got, but I guess you can call different plays in different situations. That's the only thing I can see that they can possibly do better.
Well, I think it was a message sender. I think it was you boys better wake up because your job isn't safe. I don't care who you are.
But you fired the offensive coordinator.
Well, you can't fire the defensive coordinator.
Well,
they're not going to fire Rob. Right.
No, you can't fire yourself.
And Rex isn't gonna fire his brother. That's not going to happen. So
but Rob technically isn't the defensive coordinator.
Well, that's true.
He doesn't own that title.
Well, that's true. However, the relationship that they have, he's not getting fired. Period.
Yes, I agree.
So,
Rob is the defense. I think his label is defensive assistant. Dennis Thurman is technically the defensive coordinator that calls no plays. All the plays are being called between Rex and Rob.
Exactly. And I don't know. I'm waiting for Rob Ryan to pull out the Captain Caveman pouch in his belly and do the Oonga Boonga and just pull something out that's going to be the miracle, wand, if you will, because he's got that look. He looks like he just
Man, Steve, I love them both. I played for them both. Both of them can coach the heck out of some defense. But right now, they got to get it together, man. They got to get it together. And I don't think firing the offensive coordinator was the answer.
No, well, it was a message sender. It was everybody needs to wake up. And your job isn't safe. His job isn't safe. I don't care how many points you put up. If we don't somebody's going to go. And we're going to make changes if we have to. So he was the sacrificial lamb, in my opinion. It wasn't that his job wasn't done right. It was that the team isn't performing up to their standards. And when you see, I saw a quarterback for the Bills that missed wide open throws that an NFL quarterback should not miss. You know, there was times where I saw both guys. I saw the X receiver and the Y receiver both on the same side, running a route where they both ran one ran a 5-yard out, the other looked like a 12, 13-yard out. They both look open. He decides to hit the underneath guy and he misses him. I mean, how do you do that? You're going to take the easier throw and you still don't make the throw. So I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if they're not. He looked like he was on the cusp of becoming a really good NFL quarterback last year. And this year he looks like he's regressed. And I don't know if that played into the firing. Maybe they just said, listen, this is your job to get him up to speed, and he's not. So maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. But they panicked. You're right. It was a panic move. But at the end of the day, I think Rex is going to be fired within a month because they've got the Cardinals coming up and they've got the Patriots coming up in the next 2 games. I don't see him winning either one of those. So
I'm with you, Steve.
0-4.
I just don't
Rex
see them winning
door.
either one of those games. I'm searching. They got the only way they can win one of those games is they do got the luck of the draw that they get 10 days to prepare for this game now. But
that's true.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it'll be very tough. On the flip side of the Buffalo beatdown, the Revis Island, the once untouchable cornerback. Now I heard on one talk show today they called him Revis Peninsula because he lost his title at the island. But as we've noted and as obviously it's been documented, we talked about it last show with A.J. Green, lit him up in week 1. He didn't look that great in week 2. Now, obviously, Goodwin is a world-class sprinter. He can run by just about everybody in the NFL. So one play doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. But Revis wasn't playing Revis-style defense. And as a professional cornerback such as yourself, I will let you explain to our listeners why we see Revis playing differently and exactly what that means. So please explain what Darrell is doing differently and why you think he's doing it differently.
Yes. Like you, Steve, I've been watching a lot of ESPN today, and I've seen a lot of people going at Darrell Revis. I'm not going to go at Darrell Revis. I'm actually going to defend him as best as I can, and I'm going to touch on a point that no one has pointed out. Darrell Revis, in his prime, to me, is one of the best to ever do it. I'm not saying he's still in his prime. Has he lost a step? Maybe. But I went through the 3 deep balls that I can recall being caught on Revis. Randy Moss, the one-handed catch from Randy Moss. Revis lined up in press coverage, gave Randy Moss a free release, did not touch him, and tried to run with him. He got beat for 6. A.J. Green, last Sunday, he played off coverage, tried to run with him. He got beat for 6. Marquise Goodwin, he played off coverage, tried to run with him, and got beat for 6. Do you see a theme there?
Yes, I do.
The theme is Darrell Revis didn't touch any of these guys. When we were watching Darrell Revis lock up every receiver in the league, you know how he was doing it?
The key word was lock up. The key word is lock up. He locked up.
I'm talking about it was crazy. He played press coverage. He used to reroute and press these guys to where he wanted them to go. He wouldn't let them get a full head of speed and then try to run with him. Darrell Revis has never been a burner. He's never been that way. So I think for some reason he's playing more off coverage, and that's just not his game. He needs to revert back to what made him great. Put your hands on these receivers and reroute them to where you want them to go. I promise you he'll have more success. Right now he's probably going through some confidence issues because when you get beat like he's been beaten the last 2 weeks, trust me, it hits you in your heart as a corner because I feel like we're the most cockiest players on the field. We feel like nobody can beat us. Nobody can do anything to us. And when you get beat back-to-back weeks like he's been beaten, I promise you, his confidence is taking a hit, and the only way to get it back is to go out and make some plays. So I feel like for him to make some plays, he needs to get back to doing what he used to do. Go up, get in these guys' face and press the block down. That's my take on it. I'm not going to say he's washed up, he's lost a step. No, I want him to just get back to doing what he did great and stop doing other things.
Right. Well, we've heard, we and you talked about it before the show, and I'll bring up a great point that you made earlier. We heard that multiple people, Booger McFarland tweeted it earlier, that, he's heard from a source that Revis is out of shape. I think it was Jason Cole from Yahoo or somebody, I don't know who he works for, but Jason Cole had mentioned that, he heard from a source that he's out of shape and you just wait and see. And, all of a sudden these stories or these little anecdotes, if you will, that he's, out of shape and he didn't work out that hard this summer are popping up. And as you alluded to, and it's your point, even though I'm saying it, that why weren't these coming up before the season started? It seems a little ironic that now, 2 weeks into it, we're hearing, well, we were going to tell you this, but we didn't want to tell you until we saw it. I mean, is that what they're saying? We were waiting to see if it happened, and now we're going to say
pretty
it happened?
much.
I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. So if you're going to wait to say something until after somebody actually does it, then, it makes you look right an awful lot. But to me, and that's your point, why didn't they say this a month ago that, hey, coming into week 1, we heard that Revis isn't in great shape, come out and say it then, and then let the chips fall where they may, and not wait until after the fact and come out and say it. So one of the things that we also talked about, which you made another excellent point, was if he was out of shape, he's going to pull a hamstring. He's not going to be able to turn around and sprint 60 yards downfield and say, oh, it's because I'm out of shape. Well, if you're out of shape, you're probably going to get hurt. You're probably going to pull a hamstring. You're probably going to pull a quad muscle. It's not just going to be that you can't keep up. It'll be that you can't keep up and you'll be limping off the field grabbing something. So both of those are excellent points by you. I just wanted to reiterate that conversation we had to our listeners because those are both very valid points. So I know you DBs stick together. I know you cornerbacks. You all love each other.
Because we know the struggle. We know the struggle. It ain't easy out there. It's not easy covering anybody. A lot of people, they just look at it and think they can do it. Trust me, it's not easy.
Oh, I think it's, besides the quarterback position, I think it's the hardest position on the field, without a doubt, because you've got guys that are just as athletic as you are on the other side, except for they know where they're going. They know where they're going to cut and pivot, and they know how many steps this route is, and they know where the ball is going to be. And the DB has no idea. He has to read, react, and have fluid hips and quick feet and everything else under the sun. So it's not easy at all. But here's the thing about being a corner. Usually, the only time you hear about a corner is if he's getting beat. Because if he's doing his job, the quarterback doesn't throw that way. He doesn't get anything thrown at him because his guy is covered. When I remember the best year that I ever saw, of course, you're going to call me a homer, but I'm going to bring up Champ
Bailey did something.
In 2005, he had, in my opinion, the best. And I wish I could get George Foster on the phone right now because Big Foss would attest to this because he was there watching. In 2005, they threw at him 32 times that season. 32 times he got looked at. Now, granted, he had a rookie on the other side of him, but 32 balls he got thrown at, and he picked off 9 of them. So almost a third of the balls that came to him, he grabbed. Now
That's
think
impressive.
about that.
No, that's beyond impressive. That's beyond impressive.
He was balling out that year. He didn't win Defensive Player of the Year. He came in second because Jason Taylor had a phenomenal year. But the point is you don't hear about Champ when you watch the game because he's not getting a lot of attention. He doesn't get – I mean, if you look at it, 32 times he was thrown at over 16 games. That means they threw at his side twice on average. Twice. And most of those times come when it's a wide receiver that they have to get the ball to. A Randy Moss type, a Terrell Owens type, where the offensive coordinator doesn't care who's covering him. He's going to get his looks. He's going to get his touches just because he's that elite of a wide receiver. So, you know, and to defend Revis a little, the only time we talk about corners is when they get beat. But that's what corners do. They get beat. It's inevitable in this league, especially with the rules the way they are, and you're not allowed to touch guys, you know, after 5 yards at all. There's no more hand checking like there used to be. You know, you can't do a lot except for just be there when you're supposed to be there. So I don't know. I'm not ready to write him off just yet. I think he's got plenty of time to turn it around, but maybe he has lost a step or half a step. You'll know. You'll see it. It's quick. It happens. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. But, hey, Steve-O, one quick thing. Let me piggyback off your Champ Bailey story, his, 31 targets in a year. I played with a cornerback also that had 28 targets in a year. He only had 2 interceptions that year. Or was it 1? It might be 1. Still made the Pro Bowl because he was that elite. He was that elite. Hey, and maybe I just sucked that bad playing on the other side of him, but he was pretty freaking good. Nnamdi Asomugha.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know what the Eagles did to him, but when he was with the Raiders, he was a baller.
Well, I think the Eagles just put him in zone coverage, didn't they? I mean, it looked like he was trying to do things he couldn't do.
That's not what he did. That's not what he does. That's not what he does. He's a man-to-man guy. Hey, yeah, I'm on. Hey, this is my guy. I'm guarding him all game. That's what he does. He's not a zone guy, and it is what it is. There, I'm just talking about what he was with the Oakland Raiders, and that was amazing. I got to see the guy every day.
Yo, I totally agree. I watched him quite a bit back when he was with Oakland, and he was a great press man corner. When he went to Philly, you know, having conversations with guys that played in that secondary, I know that there was other players on that team that refused to do certain things. They were told to go play this position, and they said, no, I'm staying right here, and I'm doing it my way. And from what I heard, their way worked out, and it won out, and that's what coaches decided to do, and everybody else maybe didn't look as good because they were doing things that they weren't accustomed to doing. You know, you got to play to your guy's strengths. It's just you have to do it.
Absolutely.
So, you know. But anyway, we'll move on from all the cornerback talk, and we'll see if Revis gets his act together. He's got all year to do it. And like I said, the Jets will be there with their front four, front seven, I should say. You know, they're going to put enough pressure on the quarterback. Their defense is solid, and if their offense plays like it did, you know, I really think they could be an 11 win team, and you know they'll be right there. Patriots going to have to play good football. I think it's going to come down to them too. Obviously, in the East, we'll see what the Dolphins do, but I don't have enough faith in Tannehill just yet. Not yet, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because it's still only week 2. All right, why don't we go ahead and start previewing some of this weekend's action? I know we've been doing our homework. We're ready for all these games coming up. So I will fire off the game. You tell me who do you have winning and why, or any other statistic or any other bit of information that you have for us. But let's start off with a game that I'll let you all know that I heard today that the referees have already been informed to keep their eye on any chippiness, any extracurricular activities, and that would be the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Who do you like and why?
Dude, this is, you know, like I always call it, this is one of them black and blue division games. Man, listen, this one is going to be a tough one. But I'm going with the home team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I've been there, I've played there before. Any visiting team know when they put on their theme song, Renegade, oh my God. It gets the Steelers hype, but I know us as Ravens, it used to get us hype. All you hear is, oh, mama, won't you? Man, listen, boy, hey, it sent a chill down your spine. And it's like, oh, man, it's game time. It's game time. So I know Pittsburgh is going to be ready to perform in front of those fans, man. And I think we're going to get off. Go ahead.
Can I get another little bit of that singing? I wasn't expecting that. Come on, let me get a little bit more. Let me get a little bit more of that.
You know, I do what I can. I do what I can do, Steve.
Just do a little bit. Just give me a little bit more of that. I was feeling that.
Hey,
yeah, that's what I thought.
But man, I really think, hey, this game is gonna go to Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're gonna see on Twitter, because I know on Sundays we both are on Twitter a lot. We're gonna see a lot of this slogan: "How's business?"
Yeah.
Booming.
Yeah.
Booming. AB is gonna have an amazing game. D'Angelo Williams is gonna keep the offense rolling on the ground, and Pittsburgh gets the job done.
Don't sleep on Pac-Man now. Pac-Man is the type of corner that he's quick. He's a little dude, but he's quick too now.
No, I like Pac-Man. Pac-Man is one of my guys. We 05
he's a
draft
DB.
class together. We 05 draft class together. Hey, that's my guy. But hey, he better pack his lunch this week.
Yeah, I like Pittsburgh in this one too because their offense is clicking. And anytime an offense starts clicking, they're tough, especially at home. Because when that ball gets rolling, the crowd's quiet. Big Ben can make all his calls. He can make all his checks. The defense, typically speaking, doesn't get off the ball as well on the road as they do at home. So Cincinnati's not going to have that extra advantage of being at home, obviously. I like Pittsburgh in this one because, like I said from before the season, they're one of my teams to go deep into the playoffs, maybe even AFC Championship game. I have them against the Patriots in my championship game because of that offense. Yeah.
You do.
Because I do. Because I think that when they get all their guys back, when they get Bryant back, when they get Bell back, they're going to be loaded. I mean, you got all kinds of activity going on. So that offense is going to be too tough. So I like them.
So me and you agree.
We agree. What, did a bus just go by your house or something? Sounded like a train went through your living room. It was loud. Threw my concentration off for a second there. It felt like I was on the road. Anyway. All right, moving right along. We both like Pittsburgh. Next game on the docket, Tennessee versus Detroit. Who do you like and why?
I'm going with the Detroit Lions. They're at home versus a Titans team that looked really bad in week one. When I say really bad, I don't think it's a word that I can kind of say that would be the equivalent of what the Titans look like in week one. And as you know me for a long time, I'm a huge Mariota fan. And I was disappointed week one. I'm talking about really disappointed week one. And from what I've seen, what Detroit did to Indy in week one, I'm going with Detroit.
Yeah. You know what they say travels? A running game and defense. Well, the Titans have a running game, but they couldn't find a defense with a German Shepherd and a cane. They have no shot against Detroit on the road because their defense is terrible. They can't stop a nosebleed right now. And the only chance that they have is if they rush for just a ridiculous amount of yards and just control the game on the ground and keep Detroit's offense off the field. Because their defense ain't going to keep them off the field. I don't either. But that's the only chance they have is to just have 16-play drives that last, 8 to 10 minutes just by running the ball. Because other than that, they don't have a shot. I think Detroit's going to win this one. I think they're going to win pretty easily, too. I don't think it'll be that close. I don't know what the line is, but for all you bettors out there, take the Lions. Not much left to say. All right, moving right along. We got another black and blue division game, and unfortunately, the team that always ends up black and blue is the Cleveland Browns. They're at home. Well, they do. They get their ass whooped a lot. And I'm a low key Browns fan. I mean, I talked to my buddy Ryan Burns over at Football Sickness. I'll give him a little plug. You guys check him out. He's a good dude. And Football Sickness, Ryan Burns, good dude, big time Cleveland Browns fan. And I told him I'm a low key Browns fan. Obviously, I like Duke Johnson because I'm a Hurricane fan.
Yeah,
and I'm a homer, and I'm big on him coming out of college. But I just root for the underdog. I'd like to see him turn it around, you know. And I love Hugh Jackson. I think Hugh Jackson is a good man. I think he's a good coach. I think the places he's been before, he's gotten the short end of the stick. You know, he didn't get treated all that great in Oakland when he was there. But he's a good coach. I'd like to see him the boat around, but unfortunately, Cleveland's defense is a mess. It's got more problems than a math book. It is bad. So Baltimore's not a world beater right now either. Let's just be honest. They're a good football team though. They got enough talent to beat you.
That's your opinion.
Well, what was their record last year?
We're not talking about last year. We had a lot of injuries last year. Well, they had a lot of injuries last year.
Well,
they had a lot of injuries last year.
Don't they have a lot of injuries now?
Nope.
All right. Well, you say so. Anyway, Baltimore's a good team. Like I said, I think that they'll go into Cleveland and get a win pretty easily. And I think they'll do it with Flacco in the air, and he'll just start picking them apart because Cleveland, they couldn't cover a bed with a blanket. Let's just be honest. Their defensive backs are terrible, and they got talented first-round picks in that secondary, but they just don't get the job done for whatever reason. So we'll see, but I like Baltimore in this one to cover easily, whatever the spread is. I don't bet, so I don't know, but what are your thoughts?
Me personally, I like the Ravens also to win this game, but I think it's going to be closer than people expect. Josh McCown always plays the Ravens tough. I think this game is going to come down to the fourth quarter. Either something crazy happens in the fourth quarter where the Ravens get a touchdown, or they win it by a field goal. I think this is going to be a really close game.
Well, familiarity does breed, close matchups.
Absolutely. Divisional games are usually close.
Yeah, because they know each other so well. They know what they want to do, and they know their tendencies, and, so these games usually are close. I remember one year, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but I think Cleveland beat Baltimore, and it threw me out of a suicide pool because I had taken Baltimore to beat the Browns, and they lost. And so you never know. I mean, any given Sunday in this league, but I think this week with Baltimore coming off of a win, they feel good. I think the Ravens will handle business. So we both like Baltimore. Far we're both on the same page with every game.
We're both on the same page right now.
All right, now this is where things get interesting because the Dallas Cowboys head into Washington. And Washington looked abysmal last week. They got whacked like a surfboard.
Awful.
So I think that is going to put a little fire in their belly. And I think they'd love to take it out on the Cowboys. Ooh, I don't know if they're going to win. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I don't know. Well, I want to see how Prescott plays on the road. Rookies on the road, not quite the same as being at home. What do you think?
Okay. I'm going to just say this. It's no way Gruden goes into this game with the same game plan he went into last week. I think we're going to see Norman versus Dez Bryant for one. And to add on to a rookie going on the road, I think the Redskins are going to pull this game off at home. They're going to pull it off somehow, some way. It's no way Gruden is going to concede to that left and right cornerback crap because Dallas, if they do that, Dez Bryant will have the same kind of game AB had last week. He's too smart of a coach to go into it with that same game plan. It won't happen.
And you can't trick. You're not going to be able to trick Big Ben like you can trick Dak Prescott. Now, nothing against Dak. He's a good, young, talented quarterback, but he's still a rookie, and he can still be fooled by good coaching and good scheming. And I think that Gruden will scheme up some looks on defense where he'll think, oh, I'm in man here, and he won't be. Or, oh, I got cover 2 here, and it's not. He'll devise some schemes that'll surprise the young lad, and it'll be an interesting matchup. But I think Dallas is going to win simply because I think they're gonna take the air out of the football, and they're gonna let Ezekiel Elliott just run, and that offensive line, man, they mash. God, do they mash people? They are road graders. They can open some holes. And I just don't see anybody on the Washington front that really intimidates me. I don't see anybody up front. I mean, I love some of the guys they have, but they're not. I don't know. I just don't think it's a good matchup in the trenches. And I think that's where this game is played. You talk about the receivers versus the corners all you want, but this game is won and lost up front. And I think
Washington is going to kill Dallas' secondary. Kill. They won't go in this game trying to just get the tight end involved. No way.
Right. You'll see a lot more
Deshaun.
You're right. I agree with you there. They're gonna open it up. They have to. They didn't score last week. They didn't score at all. Did they? Didn't they get blanked?
They didn't. Wait.
I think they got blanked.
I don't know. You asking me to go off the dome. I don't know. I don't know, Steve.
But anywho, it doesn't matter. The point is that you're right. Gruden is not going to go with the same. No, they scored 16 points last week. They lost 38-16. I was thinking of the other game that was 28-0. I was thinking of the Rams. But anyway, so
yeah,
they're going to put some packages together, and I know, just like you said about Revis, you know that Josh Norman has got that fire in his belly. He is not going to. He's going to come at it with some vigor, a little bit of piss and vinegar, as they say, and he's going to be fired up. So I know he's got a tough challenge, though, but it could be a huge statement for him and for the Redskin fans if he can come in and lock Dez up, or at least not lock him up, because you're not going to lock him up, but at least contain him a little bit so he doesn't go off on you.
Yeah, you're definitely not locking him up. You can forget about it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But you know what I mean? At least be respectable. Keep it, minimal, if you will. But we'll see. I just think that the Cowboys are going to run. I think that's their road to success, especially on the road. The best way to shut up a crowd is to just run it down their throat.
Absolutely.
And they got the talent to do it. So I like Dallas. You like Washington. We shall see what happens there. All right, moving right along. You got the New Orleans Saints, who had one taken from them. They had a nice little lead against the Raiders, and Jack Del Rio decided to go for 2, and he took it on them. That stings. Leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Now they got to travel to New York Football Giants, who are my surprise team of 2016. I'll let the floor be yours, sir. Who do you like and why?
I think the Giants played well last weekend, and they get the job done this weekend at home. So I'm going with the Giants. It's simple to me.
I agree. I'm going with the Giants, too. I like them at home. I think their secondary is getting better. I don't think that they're perfect yet, but I like what they're doing. They're moving people around. I liked what they did with DRC. He came off the edge and blitzed a lot. They utilized his speed off the edge. He didn't necessarily just play out in an island. They moved him around a lot. I think they have a really good front with JPP and obviously the new addition in Vernon from Miami. So we'll see. But I think the Giants have the pieces to get it done. It's tough for New Orleans to win by just throwing the ball all day long. I really think New Orleans, they miss Jimmy Graham bad. I think if they look back at it, that was a trade they would take back.
That was a terrible trade if you look back at it.
Yeah, I think it was a terrible trade for both teams because I haven't seen Jimmy Graham. They're not using him in Seattle either.
Yes, like what the heck, dude?
I know. I agree. I don't get it either. I agree with you. And you get a guy like Unger, who is a great center. Don't get me wrong. He sets the table and makes the calls and helps you get to that second level as far as blocking linebackers. But Jimmy Graham was such a difference maker for New Orleans. I mean, he was just another guy you had to cover. When you tried to cover the middle of the field, Breeze lit you up on the outside. It was a good dichotomy, babe.
Yes, it was.
I had to throw that word.
You explained that to me last week, so now I get it. Yes, it was, man. They meshed well together.
Yeah.
They meshed well together.
Yes, sir. So anyway, I think we both like the Giants in this one. Giants will go to 2-0, and you can start piling up wins in the East. That could be your division. I don't think that's a division you're just going to run away with it, So get the wins early, stockpile them up. You never know what could happen. But we both like New York at home, so we'll move right along. You got San Francisco 49ers who came off.
Do we have to really go through this one?
Yeah. Well, you got 49ers fans right now that are cussing you out. Oh, hey, man, we just won 28-0, man.
Who cares? 49er fans. This isn't the LA Rams. This isn't the LA Rams. This game might get ugly fast.
And Carolina's a little pissed off, too, because they took one to the chin. They feel like they should have won. Yeah,
And now they've had 10 days to prepare.
Yeah.
Man, listen, this game could get ugly fast. I love Carolina by like 17 points in this game, man. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly.
I agree. Carolina will win this one walking away, especially at home. They haven't won a ball game in the last two games, so they're itching for a win. And I know that Cam is ready to do it. I think Carolina will be the team. I think it'll be just like you said. They're going to kill them.
Yeah, they're going to embarrass the 49ers, man. Like, seriously. They're going to embarrass them.
Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of Carlos Hyde. That's really the only option they have.
And with that front seven, I don't see that working either. They have a person by the name – they have two guys that's sitting there, Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. I'm not afraid of Thomas Hyde either. I'm sorry. Dude,
yeah.
Carolina's going to kill these. I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina blanked this team.
Wow. Going all out.
Dude.
Talking about shutouts. That's hard to do in the NFL.
You're not finna tell me the 49ers are good because they had an amazing game versus the LA Rams. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Who did they beat?
I know.
They beat the Rams. Another bottom feeder. They beat another bottom feeder. Like, come on, dude. No.
This is Florida boy sports when you hear fitting to. Hey, he's fitting to do it. That's right. I like it. My man, Fabe, born and raised a Florida boy.
I'm a Florida boy till I die.
That's right. Hey, we saw today on Twitter they announced, somebody posted it, I can't remember, but there's more Florida football players in the NFL than any other state, with 208 Floridians from the state of Florida playing in the National Football League, which is pretty good.
This is what we do.
Well, considering Texas and California are both much bigger states.
This is what we do.
Yeah,
I don't care what they do. This is what we do. We're the best at it.
I remember when I first moved down to here to Florida. It was 1996. I was on the East Coast, living in Aventura in North Miami Beach. I went to a high school football game, and I remember thinking, if this high school team, I think it was Miami Northwestern or somebody good, I can't remember who it was. I remember thinking, if one of these teams played the team that I grew up in Connecticut, they would literally have ambulances. I'm not kidding you. It wouldn't even be fair. These guys down here are big and fast, and they look like Division I players to me, and these are high school kids. So you're right. It's a different world as far as football in Florida. I told my son already, he better have a good arm. He ain't fast enough to keep up with anybody on these fields. These kids get out and run, boy. Anyway, we'll move right along. Let's bring up the Miami goes to New England to face the Jimmy Garoppolo-led New England Patriots, coming off of a impressive win, albeit a missed field goal win, but it was an impressive win on the road against a good playoff team in Arizona. So they're feeling good about themselves. Now they go to New England where they're possible to beat New England. Their record is just ridiculous. So do you think Miami has a shot? Miami has been a thorn in the side of the Patriots for the last, couple years. They pulled off some victories. Most of the time it's in Miami, though. What do you think?
It's a no-brainer to me. Patriots at home. I think the offense and the defense duplicates the success that they had versus the Cardinals last week. I really think they're going to win. I don't know about the score because it is a divisional game, and in the division, everybody knows everybody so well that it could become a tight game, but at the end of the day, you're not beating Bill Belichick at home. So, the Patriots.
Yeah,
Go ahead, agree with me. You better agree with me.
I do. You can't disagree. The only hope that Miami has is that
Kenny Stills catches the football.
Well, yeah, that. But I think that Ndamukong Suh has to have a huge game.
And he will.
Yeah, because the Patriots' interior offensive line is a little beat up. They've got rid of their center this just recently, so they got a guy who's pretty due at the position at center. They're a little banged up on the interior of the line, and when you got a monster like Suh coming into town, he could change what you do. But with that said, McDaniels and Belichick game plan so well that they'll have quick throws. They got those blitz beaters ready. They got the tight ends ready. I think we'll see, even though he's questionable, I think we'll see Gronk for the first time. I think Gronkowski will be back, which will give him even more, offensive help. And, they're too well coached. They don't make mistakes. And unfortunately, the Dolphins do. That's the one thing with Miami. The knock on the quarterback for Miami has been that he can't throw a deep ball.
He can't.
Right. So that's what we hear, right? Can't throw a deep ball. Week 1, he throws a dime, 60 yards in the air, just right on the money, and the guy drops it. It's like he can't win for losing.
Steve. Steve.
I tell you,
Steve.
I feel bad for him.
Steve, he throwed a dime. Just like you say, a dime. A dime, meaning singular.
One.
He threw a dime. No. You're not going to just tell me he's accurate now on the deep ball.
No, I'm
Let's
not.
see how
I'm
this season goes.
what I'm saying is even when he does do it well, they don't execute. That's the point.
Okay, I can go with you there. I can go with you there.
You know what I mean? Even when he does throw a good one, they drop it.
I can go with you if that's what you're talking about. But man,
exactly.
I've seen so many underthrown or overthrown deep balls out of Tannehill that it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Tannehill's strength is not the deep ball, which always made me wonder why they went out and paid Mike Wallace all that money and got rid of Brandon Marshall. When Brandon Marshall, he's the best underneath wide receiver, probably within 15 yards because he's 6'5", 230, and he fights for the ball like a monster. You get rid of him and you go get a speedster, and you got a guy who can't get him the ball.
Dude,
well,
that boggled
that's
my
why
mind.
What's his name ain't there anymore.
It boggled my mind to go get Mike Wallace when you have Tannehill at quarterback. You know he's not accurate on the deep ball. Why would you do that? But the guys that pulled the trigger on that deal aren't there anymore. Neither one are there. The head coach or the GM.
Yep, I agree. Both of them. See ya. Well, you make those mistakes. That's what happens. I had an old head pro one time told me, he said, listen, at the end of the day, we all fire ourselves, don't we? You really think about it. We all fire ourselves with the way we act and the things we do. So, so it was a good line. It stuck with me. All right, moving right along. We both like New England at home just because New England does not lose at home. Doesn't matter who they're starting at quarterback. They're going to win, find a way. All right, an interesting game. Kansas City Chiefs at the Houston Texans. What do you think about this matchup, Abe?
Man, dude, for one, this matchup is going to be a tough matchup. First, I'll start with Kansas City. I watched the Kansas City game, and Kansas City didn't play well at all in the first half, but I absolutely love what I saw out of them in the second half. That team fought back from a deficit that I thought they was just done at. They were done. I was like, oh, they're cooked. There's no way they come back from this. And they fought back and won that football game. Now let me get on Houston. I like what I saw from Houston's offense last week. Fuller and Hopkins, man, Kansas City better pack their lunch. Because I think Fuller and Hopkins is going to have a big day on their secondary. Because Brock was putting the ball where it needed to be last week. And I think he duplicates that success versus Kansas City again this week.
Do you think that Kansas City will go after, do you think Houston will go after Peters? Do you think they respect Marcus Peters enough to try to get Hopkins mismatched
a two-year guy? A two-year guy, you better go
after. He's long, though. He's a very long corner. I like him. I like him a lot.
If Fuller is on him, if he's on Fuller, and Fuller gets a step on him, throw the ball as far as you can. Brock Osweiler, throw the ball as far as you can. Do that. And I guarantee you'll have success. You can't run with Fuller.
Yeah, he's fast. He drops the ball a lot, though. He's got the drop.
But we didn't see that in week one. You're talking about at Notre Dame. We didn't see that week one.
Well, I saw one drop in week one, but that's just one.
Let's see how it plays out. Who do you have winning this game?
I got Houston because it's at home. It's a pick-em game for me, to be honest, because like you said, Kansas City came back and showed me something, and they're very balanced. I didn't think that Alex Smith could come back from a deficit like that. I didn't think that was his style. I thought once you get Kansas City down, that's it. They're done. They got to be in the ball game throughout in order to win it because they can't drop back and just throw it all around the lot. But Smith proved me wrong, and I don't know if what Jamal Charles' status is this week. I know they're bringing him back slow. I know he practiced some. So if they get him back, I don't know. Houston, I'm going with Houston because it's at home. And I know J.J. Watt is back from his back injury. So I think Houston has enough weapons offensively to get it done. I think Osweiler gets the ball to his speedy receivers, and Hopkins is so tough. And, Lamar Miller's fast, so you got to respect his speed out of the backfield. I think Houston gets it done. I like Houston at home. It'll be close, though. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with the home team. Going to go with Houston. It'll be a good game, though. Probably one of the better games of the week, I think.
I think so also.
All right, moving right along. Seattle is going to Los Angeles to take on a team trying to find its identity. But let me start by saying Seattle did not look all that great either. They got the win because that's what Seattle does. They find a way at the end to win. That's what they do. They figure it out. Super Bowl. Other than that, they figure it out. So Russell Wilson's a gamer, and right now, Los Angeles, they're lost. They look like a team that doesn't know what they're doing. They did not look good on Monday Night Football at all. And now they got a short week to prepare. Granted, they're not traveling, but they got a short week to prepare. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that loss hurts them or helps them. Sometimes it can help. Fisher got to turn the ship around, though.
Oh, absolutely. He has to do something. So you're taking Seattle.
Yes, I'm taking Seattle.
Smart guy. Doesn't take a no-brainer there. It doesn't take a genius to make that decision. I'm also taking Seattle, but I don't think it's going to be in blowout fashion at all. I think this is going to be actually one of the nail-biter games of the weekend. Because I've looked at the history of this game. When the Rams get Seattle at home, they usually play well. Yes, this is a new home. This isn't that dome in St. Louis anymore, but it's usually still a good game. So I can't wait to see this one. I think Seattle pulls this one out in a tough one. In the fourth quarter, somehow they figure out a way to win it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams came out and won this game, just because I've seen what happens in Seattle. Not in Seattle, but in St. Louis. So now it's a different city, still home field. Let's see how the Rams play at home.
And like I've heard a million defensive players tell me, defenses play better at home. They get off the ball better. Their pass rush is usually better. The crowd's, energy gets you pumped up more. But here's the biggest key for the Rams. They have got to get Gurley going. Todd Gurley did not have a good week. I know that they were down, so when you're down, you can't run the ball as much. But I think he had, 52 yards? 52 yards? For one of the best running backs in the NFL? That's not acceptable. You got to do better than that. And I think they're going to make serious game plans in order to do that. I think that Fisher is sitting there devising a way to run the ball right down the throat of this Seattle team, which is a tough thing to do because Seattle's stout defense. They bring it. Like you said, it's going to be close. It'll be a fourth quarter. Whoever wins the fourth quarter wins the game.
Yes, I definitely think that.
So who are you taking, Seattle?
Absolutely.
All right, so we both like Seattle in that one. All right, next game, another up-and-coming team who I think the needle is definitely trending upwards. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are heading into Arizona to take on the Cardinals, who are coming off a tough loss at home last week. Man, they got a nice beginning of their schedule, huh? They haven't had to leave town in a while. They're taking on the Bucs, at Arizona. Who do you like in this one and why?
I'm going to take the Cardinals in this one because I think they'll play much better than they did last week. They'll beat a much improved Buck team, but the Cardinals now, they have to win some ball games. They go down 0-2 in that division, you can forget about it. They're not winning that division if they go down 0-2 because I got Seattle going 2-0. So that means Seattle technically would have to drop 3 games. No way that happens. So I feel like the Cardinals' feet are going to be against the fan, and they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done this week, but I still think Jameis Winston has an amazing game. I love that kid.
Yeah, he is a baller. He's a gamer. That's what I like about him. He rises to the occasion. But like you said, I think that Arizona's secondary poses a lot of problems for a guy with a big arm. Because a guy with a big arm, like Jameis has, he likes to make throws to show off that arm. He wants to fit it into windows and say, see what I can do? I can do things your guy can't do. And he makes those tough throws. And when you go against a Honey Badger and you go against a Patrick Peterson, those are world-class athletes. So that window may look open, but they're just baiting you. And I would be very careful about making tough throws against the Cardinal secondary. They did not play well against Garoppolo. They let the Patriots game plan beat them. And I know that Bruce Arians is a good enough coach that he's going to get in that ass, if you will, and he's going to tell these, you better play better or else you'll be sitting on the bench next to me. I don't care who you are.
Love
you
Bruce.
You better bring it or you won't. You won't be playing. I don't care what your name is. You better get out there and win. And I think he'll light that fire, and just like you said, he'll let them know that this division is not a division you want to fall behind in. You need to stay, right where you need to be. Okay, we lost a tough one last week. We missed the field goal. We should have won the game. 47-yard field goal, you should have made it. Should have. So we should have won. So let's not look at it like we lost. We just had an unfortunate situation. But we did lose the game. But now let's get out here this week. We got a much easier opponent, if you will, in the Buccaneers. Even though they're young and talented, we have the pieces to put it together. Let's play Cardinal football and come out and get this W, and I think they do. I think they win by 2 touchdowns at least. At least. That's my prediction. So I'm going with the Cardinals.
Ooh. Yeah, I guess we agree. We agree that the Cardinals are going to win, but I don't think they win by 2 touchdowns.
I do. I think they get that. I think they get it rolling. I think the home crowd wants to feel good about this team. I mean, they were in the championship game last year. They have that feeling of we are close. Fitzgerald is not getting any younger. Carson Palmer's not getting any younger. It's our window is small. So if you boys don't get it together now, we're screwed. So you better get it together, and you better get it together this week. So I think they do. I think they feel the importance of it, and I think they perform well. I look for them to have a really good game. I'm taking the Cardinals on this one for sure. We'll see. Moving right along. Another game this one's kind of hard for me to predict. Jacksonville Jaguars go to San Diego. I don't like San Diego at all, but Jacksonville really doesn't do a whole lot for me either. But I also don't like teams that travel coasts. It's tough to play games when your body's not used to playing games. So I'm going to let you tell me who you like first. See, maybe you can convince me. Sway me, if you will.
Jacksonville showed me a lot last week against Green Bay. The Chargers, on the other hand, completely had a meltdown versus Kansas City. And I really think this is going to roll over into this week because that was a heartbreaker last week. I think Jacksonville handled them. I think Jacksonville win double digits. At least 10 points.
At
San Diego. Yes. That was a heartbreaker last week. That was a heartbreaker. You let Kansas City come back from a deficit that I can't remember off the top of my head, which I should have probably wrote down, but they came back from, I want to say, at least 21 down. It was something crazy like that.
That's what I was going to say. I think it was 21.
It's something crazy. You don't let a team. That's demoralizing, man. I promise you that loss is going to roll over into this week. Jacksonville manhandled them.
And I really think that Blake Bortles is starting to round into a nice little NFL quarterback too. He's getting there. He's got some young talent too on the outside.
He has the weapons.
Exactly. So, all right, you convinced me. I'm gonna take Jacksonville too. Let's go with the Florida team. And besides,
Florida
San
boys.
Diego, I hate San Diego. They can lose every week for all I care.
Hey, this is
All
Florida
right.
Boy Radio. We're going with Florida boys.
That's right. All right, moving right along. The Atlanta Falcons travel out to Oakland to take on the big ball Jack Del Rio and the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders.
Just win, baby.
I already know who you're going to take. You're going to take Oakland.
But no, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't just say you know who I'm going to take just because
Just because they made you a
you're going
millionaire.
to take the same team. You're taking the same team here. There's no way you go with Atlanta.
Why not? How do you know?
Are you freaking serious? Did you see them last week?
No, I'm not serious. Of course I'm taking the Raiders. I hate to admit it, the Raiders are getting good. I mean, I love it though. It's good good for the AFC West.
Steve.
It's good for the AFC West because me being a Bronco fan my whole life, I love those Bronco Raiders rivalries, and I loved it when the Raiders could actually show up and talk shit, and they couldn't for a long time, but now they can, and they're getting there. And this is a good young team. They got a good quarterback. Their wide receiver, Amari Cooper, is very talented. They're well coached. They got a good running game with Murray. Their defense is solid. They got, edge rushers and Khalil Mack. They picked up, I know he had a rough game last week with Smith, but they got talent in the back end. The Raiders are getting better. And just as much as you said that the big come-from-behind loss where they blew it for San Diego, that come-from-behind win against New Orleans in Week 1 emboldened the Raiders to believe that we can achieve. They now think, hey, we can do this, guys. If we stick together and we follow our coach and we do our job, we can do this. We are not the Raiders of old. We are the new Raiders. I think that plays heavy. I think they're going to win, and I think they're going to get that ball rolling. And I think it's going to be a really good battle in the AFC West this year. So we both like Oakland at home.
I think we've agreed on like 90% of this stuff, Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to have to. We did agree we're not going to be the shock analysts who say stuff just for ratings.
I'm not a contrarian.
You got to be honest.
Exactly.
You got to be honest.
I'm not gonna debate just for debate's sake. I disagree with you, and I disagree with you. But if what you say is something I believe in, then I'm gonna agree with you. If I disagree with what you say, I'm gonna disagree with you. But just to argue, just to be argumentative, maybe it's good radio, but that's not Florida Boy radio.
That's not Florida Boy radio at all.
We tell it like we see it. We call it like it is.
We keep it 100.
That's right. That's what it is. That's how we do our thing. So that is what it is. All right, let's talk about Indy at Denver. The Colts go to the Broncos, and for the first time in a while, it's not Peyton Manning versus his old team, which is nice to finally hear. It's the Colts versus the Broncos at Denver. Who do you like?
Man, listen. I'm going with the Super Bowl champs because Indy has huge, colossal problems on defense. That secondary was god-awful last week. Like, I was watching the game, and I'm like, I know Chuck Pagano personally, and I'm like, I know he is livid right now. He's hot. He's hot because he prides himself on secondary play. He wants his secondary to be the best in the world, let alone his defense. He wants his defense to be amazing, but his secondary, because he prides himself on his secondary. And that secondary went out and laid an egg last week. I'm talking about Detroit got everything that they wanted on that secondary, and I think Denver's going to do the same thing. Until they can get Vontae back, man, they're going to have problems.
Yes, and let's just be honest. Denver has better wide receivers than the Lions do across the board. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas are a matchup nightmare for good cornerbacks.
It's going to be pitch and catch.
Yeah, it'll be tough. But here's a interesting stat. Andrew Luck, he does very well against the Broncos. I don't think he's ever lost to Denver, as a matter of fact. And I know that Vaughn has never sacked
He hasn't played against this new defense either.
Yeah, that's true. But they're going to have to score a lot. So I think they're going to try to come out and throw the ball a lot. I think you're going to see 5 sides, and there's going to be a lot of Andrew Luck. It plays into the Broncos' strength because they have so many good cover guys in Denver. They got, their third-string corner, Andy Roby, he would start on most NFL teams. You know, you got Talib, who's healthy, Chris Harris, Kayvon Webster's playing at a high level. I don't know. I see the Broncos being too much on defense, and I don't think the Colts have much of a chance. I think this will be the week that the Broncos can give some confidence into Trevor Siemian, because just like you said, the Colts secondary is not very good right now. So go ahead and open up the playbook, and let's work on some things and work on some throws that get Siemian some confidence and try to, really score some points, get the ball rolling in the passing game. So I think we both like Denver at home. And it's going to be – I don't even think it'll be that close. It's not going to be a nail-biter, but you never know. Andrew Luck is such a good quarterback. You just never know. He's talented. But
he's very talented.
Their defense is terrible.
Yes.
All right, the final game on Sunday, and then we'll jump into Monday night's game. But the final game on Sunday is a NFC North battle between the Green Bay Packers as they head into Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Who do you like in that one? Sunday night, 8:30, primetime game.
I like Green Bay in this game because Minnesota, well, at least as of now, they have no Xavier Rose. So I feel like that's their top corner, and AR-12 and Jordy are going to get better and better each week, and I think this week is another week to get better. So without Minnesota's top corner and AR-12 and Jordy getting better, I think Green Bay wins this game because of the loss of Xavier Rose. That's a huge loss to that defense. He's by far, who's their next best, I don't even know who their next best corner is. It's Xavier Rose and then everybody else.
Yeah.
I know
don't even know who.
Smith will still be there at safety. Smith is still going to be there at safety. He's amazing. When I tell you that guy's amazing at safety, he's amazing. But Xavier Rose is going to hurt a lot.
Yeah,
so I'm taking Green Bay here.
And it's anytime the national TV games come on, that's when the players play.
Absolutely. Man, you got to. Hey,
right.
Big players make big plays in big-time games. It's that simple.
Exactly. Yep. So I think you're going to see a lot of footballs lighting up the sky, and AR-12, Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be him to Jordy and him to everybody else. I think Minnesota's going to have a hard time. I think they're just going to have a hard time in this game. Especially, I don't know if this is the week. I heard they're trying to implement Bradford in this week, that he's been cramming, the playbook as much as he can.
Too early.
Well, I heard they may try. I don't know. I don't know
early.
We'll see. But if they bring him out, and it's a wrap, they'll definitely lose if he starts.
Yeah, I feel like in this sense, they won last week, right, versus Tennessee. So that bought Bradford another week to prepare. Meaning, not this week. Let's go maybe next week. If we go 1-1 between our first two games, that's a win.
Right.
So that win versus Tennessee, Tennessee in week 1, that bought them another week to prepare Bradford So let Sean Hill come out again and start and play. And if Sean Hill wins again, buy him another week. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain. If my quarterback 2-0, I'm not snatching him.
No.
So
for sure.
Maybe they just they did back the Brinks truck up to get Bradford. So maybe they want to rush him in as fast as possible and not realize they probably made a mistake. But hey,
I still can't believe they gave up a first round.
Bro, they gave up a first and a fourth. Are you serious?
And if they make it to the championship game, it becomes a second. It becomes a first and a second.
Hey,
you believe that?
Insane to me. I don't care. I don't know who's calling the shots over there, but that's insane. There's no way I'm giving up that.
If Sam Bradford was in the draft, if he was in the draft this year, I wouldn't use a first round pick on him.
Are you? Yes, you would. Stop it.
I don't like
the Sam Bradford from Oklahoma or the Sam Bradford now?
The Sam Bradford now. If you put him in this upcoming draft,
I can go with you.
I'm taking him in like the second or third round. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything to me that makes me go, oh wow, look at this guy. He's always hurt. He's a game manager at best. Well, I mean, he's accurate. I'll give him that. He's an accurate passer, but what's he done? What does his resume read that makes me say, hold on, let me give you all my draft picks? I don't get it, but maybe that's why I'm doing a radio show. I don't know.
No, Steve, I think you're right. One thing about me, I hate the term or the phrase rather, that players are stealing. No, they ain't stealing. They getting what somebody gave them. It's that simple. Hey, if somebody's going to pay it to you, I hope you would take it. Wouldn't you, Steve?
Oh, heck yeah.
If you work in your job and say you work, I don't care what job you work. Say you work at McDonald's and your job, you flipping fries for a living. And your manager
flip fries, babe. You don't flip fries. You flip burgers.
I'm not saying that. I'm making a point here.
Gotta correct.
I'm making a point. If you flipping fries and at McDonald's and your manager comes up to you and say, "Hey, we're gonna pay you $100,000 a year to flip fries," are you gonna turn it down?
Turn it down. I'm gonna go get me a golden salt shaker.
Exactly. You worth whatever somebody is willing to pay you. So I will never say that a player is stealing. I just laugh at the contracts. That's what I do.
I would have the freshest McDonald's gear you ever saw. You pulling up to that drive-thru. Like, what? Yes, right. What do you need? Some fries? Because I'm getting paid. Yes, sir. I look really good.
Exactly. You're worth whatever anybody is willing to pay you. You're worth it.
Yep. Economics 101.
Or you're worth whatever. Somebody told me you're worth whatever you can negotiate. And it's the same thing to me. It's the same thing to me.
All right, let's move it right along. We're going to get our last game in, our Monday night game, and then we got to get to Fabe's 5:15. We got a new segment we're going to roll out here in a little while. We're going to talk to y'all about. But let's finish up Monday Night Football. You got the Philadelphia Eagles in the Wentz wagon, as my buddy Gail Saunders from 4th and John, for all you Philly fans, go check them out. He says it's the Wentz wagon. They're playing at Chicago to take on Jay Cutler and the Bears. Who do you like on Monday Night Football?
Man, first off, could the NFL not flex this game out of Monday Night Football? There's no way this game should be on Monday Night Football. I'm talking about no freaking way.
Why? What were they thinking when they did that?
I don't know what they were thinking when they pulled this off. This has got to be top 5, one of the top 5 worst Monday Night Football games to start a season. But since I have to choose, I'm going to take the Eagles because Wentz did play well in week 1. He played well. He put the ball where it needed to be. The Eagles called the right plays to get him acclimated to the NFL game, meaning get some easy throws in there early to build him up some confidence, you know?
Right, yeah.
Now, for granted, they did play the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Get that, you got to throw that out there. But
the disclaimer.
I think the Eagles still win this game, man. That's my pick, the Eagles.
I think I'm going to go with Chicago. And I'm going to go with Chicago because I do think that their passing game, even though I'm not a big fan of Jay Cutler because he turns the ball over a lot, but their receivers are good. And I think the Eagles are going to have trouble on the back end covering. It's going to be an interesting game. I mean, you could flip a quarter, really. I don't know who's going to win it. And when I don't know who's going to win it, I go with the home team. So I'm going to take
good
Chicago.
Strategy.
Yeah, I'm going to take Chicago. It'll be on Monday Night Football. Every now and then, they surprise me, the Bears do, especially when the spotlight's on. You know, I remember a few years back, they played the Packers, and they just dominated the Packers, and I couldn't believe what they made Aaron Rodgers look like. So maybe they have one of those games where they come out and they do something, you know, spectacular. I know that White is back, right? I thought I read that somewhere that Kevin White is returned. He's going to be playing.
Yeah,
So he'll be there. You got Jeffrey. So I don't see anybody on the Eagles covering them, boys.
We shall see. I'm taking the Eagles.
See. I'm taking the Bears.
Okay, Eagles, Bears. You're taking the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Right.
And I'm taking the Eagles.
Let's move on. We're going to move on to our next segment. Before we get into our next segment, however, I want to give all of our fans out there an opportunity to call in. If you have a question, if you just feel like talking to us, doing whatever, feel free to give us a call. Our phone number here is 323-642-1707. So give us a call again, 323-642-1707. Give us a call. You can definitely hit us up on Twitter, too. I got my Twitter up. My Twitter is @SteveO'Reilly, and Fabian's Twitter is @FWashington31 or FWash.
Man, @FabeWash31. Simple. FABEWASH31. Hit your boy.
There you go. So hit him up, ask him a question, and we'll read it right off of Twitter. If you got something you want to say, we'll say it. All right, our next segment that we have rolling out. Each week we're going to roll out new segments. Starting next week, we have our boy from I Hate JJ Redick, which is Baltimore's voted best blog. He's going to be our fantasy guru. He knows his fantasy football very well, so we're very happy to have him. Starting next week, he's going to have Phil's Fantasy 15, which is about 15 minutes of fantasy football advice for all you fantasy heads. So look for that next Friday. But this Friday and every Friday, we're going to have Fabe's Fine 15, which is Fabian Washington's top 15 teams in the NFL as they sit. Fabo, the floor is yours.
Man, wow. You put a lot of pressure on me, Steve, to build a top 15 because it's hard, man. It's hard. I'm telling you.
You're the one who told me that pressure either busts pipes or makes diamonds. That's your saying.
Absolutely.
So I better see something shine.
Man, it's tough. I'm telling you, I thought long and hard about this, and I caught myself sometimes going back and forth. And after week 1, I really don't know what's a real top 15, but this is going to be mine as of now. I'm taking, at number 15, the Minnesota Vikings. They started the season 1-0 without their starting quarterback. And I thought that was very impressive. On the road in Tennessee. Yeah, I thought that was very impressive right there. So I put them at 15. Number 14, I'm going with the New York Giants. They look good on both sides of the ball on the road. At number 13, the Detroit Lions. The offense came out firing on all cylinders. albeit versus the Colts and that terrible secondary, they still look good. Number 12 is going to be my Baltimore Ravens. They look good. It was week 1 versus the lowly Bills, but I will take it. I'll take it. They look good. Number 11, I love the duo in Houston. Fuller and Hopkins. Man, that team is a big play waiting to happen. So Houston is my number 11 team. Number 10 is the Kansas City Chiefs. They started off super slow in the first half, but they showed me just how impressive they can be by making an amazing comeback and finishing the game versus the San Diego Chargers. Number 10, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 9, the Oakland Raiders. Man, they went into New Orleans, got a win versus Drew Brees and the high-power Saints offense. Man, come on, you gotta respect that. You gotta. Anybody that watches football know Drew Brees doesn't lose at home, and let alone lose at home, but let a comeback happen at home. The Raiders came back from 14 down and won that game. So the Raiders are my number 9 pick. My number 8 pick are also my number 8 pick is also my Super Bowl champ pick for this year, the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, they look god-awful in week 1. They look god-awful. But I do think Carson Palmer is going to get things together and right the ship. Trust me. Number 7. My number 17. Stop laughing, Steve.
I just in my head, I hear the guy from Family Feud going, "Survey says."
hey, we'll see as the season progresses. Hey, 0-1 isn't always bad.
No, it ain't.
But
keep going, Super Bowl champ.
Hey, my number 17 is the Carolina Panthers. They took a L versus the Super Bowl champion Broncos, but I do think Cam Newton and Kuechly will right that ship. They'll get things going, and they'll reel off probably 5-6 wins in a row easily. All right, number 6 is the Seattle Seahawks. They did not look impressive at all in week 1 in Miami. They were on the road. Yes, it's tough going on the road, and they had to travel that 3-hour time.
They were in Seattle, my boy.
They were?
They were at home. Yeah. They were in Seattle.
I thought they were in Miami.
No, Miami starts off at Seattle and then has to go at New England. They're putting
You're
on
absolutely right. You're absolutely right because it was the 4 o'clock game. You're absolutely right.
That's what I'm here for.
No, you are. You are here
I got you. I'm your boy.
You my partner.
All right, but I still like the call. Seahawks still a good team. Go ahead.
Seahawks, yeah. Seahawks. I like the Seahawks because they got that win, and dude, it was a point in that game I was like, Miami's gonna pull this game off. They're gonna pull this game off. And you know what? Like a coach, one of my coaches told me a long time ago, good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find a way to lose. And that's what it looked like in that game.
Mm-hmm.
My number 5 team, the Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals. Offensively, they look really good. Passing game was on point, and that's what you need. You want your passing game on point. You want your running game on point. If running game wasn't amazing, they were going against the Jets, so you don't expect it to be like amazing, but the passing game was exceptional, and they played great defense. What we're getting accustomed to knowing from that team. we're getting accustomed to seeing the Cincinnati Bengals playing great defense. So that's my number 5 team. My number 4 team, the Green Bay Packers. And I'm going to be honest, they didn't look great to me in Jacksonville. They didn't look great to me. And before I start into everything, you get a team coming from the Midwest, coming down to Florida, where it was 105 degrees in Jacksonville on that Sunday. And they found a way to pull out a game in that. Trust me, I've played for teams that's up north and have to travel to Florida during the summer and the winter. The winter just as hot as the summer. But luckily, Green Bay was able to pull this one off, but I could see it on Green Bay players' face, dude. They were fatigued. They were beat. And they found a way to beat Jacksonville. Man, that was huge in my book because I thought at some point they were going to quit. I said, it's no way they're going to finish this game. That sun is kicking their butt, and they found a way to win. Actually, they got better as the game went on, and that's impressive because AR played amazing. Jordy played as good as he could possibly be on just coming off of ACL. So, man, dude, that team there is going to be deadly this year. Trust me. My number 3 team, you might not like it, Steve, but yes, it's the Denver Broncos. They're at number 3 to me. They're my number 3 team. I know in your book they're number 1, but they're number 3 to me. I think Trevor didn't look bad. I think he made exceptional plays with his feet to get his arm out of trouble. Meaning, when they had coverage downfield, Trevor made plays, man. So you got to respect that. I know you say he's a short ball thrower, this, that, and the third. But, man, he made plays with his feet to get himself out of trouble, and I can respect that. And that defense is still elite. That defense is elite. They played great. First half, they didn't come out like I thought they would come out, but it was crazy how I seen the adjustments made at halftime, and they came out looking like the Denver Broncos that we're used to seeing. Now, the Steelers are my number 2 team. They're my number 2 team. I watched that team, and man, I was on the couch just like, wow, this team is impressive. They're impressive. AB, what can I say about AB? How's business? Booming. That's him. That's him, man. That's him. Hey, D'Angelo Williams, the guy is getting the ball rolling on the ground while Le'Veon Bell is at home. You got to respect that. And Big Ben is being Big Ben. Big Ben is finding wide open receivers no matter who they are. Big Ben was throwing the ball to receivers I've never heard of before. I'm like, this guy is pretty freaking good. And like I tell anybody that play against Big Ben, keep your eyes on your luggage. Meaning, keep your eyes on your receiver because it looks like Big Ben is going to be sacked. He's not going to be sacked. He's the biggest quarterback in the league. He usually shrugs off defensive ends and deep.
Oh, he's not bigger than Cam.
Are you freaking serious? You've lost your mind.
Cam Newton is a monster.
You've lost your mind. Big Ben, bro. Big Ben is the biggest quarterback in the NFL.
All right.
The biggest.
I've never seen Big Ben in person.
It's not even close.
All
Cam
right. I'll take
your
word for it.
Isn't even close.
All right.
It's not close.
I'll take your word for it.
Steelers are my number 2. Throw that out of there. Obviously, there's only one team left to say.
Mm-hmm.
The New England Patriots. That team up there in Boston. That's the number one team in the league. And my only comment to that is Bill Belichick keeps getting the job done. I don't care who's on that roster. Bill Belichick is getting the job done. So I tip my hat to him first and then that team because, dude, no matter who it is, they're the real definition of next man up. Seriously. They're the definition of that. Okay. If you're getting paid too much, he ships you out. You get hurt, the next man comes up, hey, you got to play. That dude is amazing. He's probably the best ever head coach in the NFL.
Okay.
So what do you think, Steve?
I like it. I think you hit the nail on the head. I do. I agree with you. The only thing I'm going to hold your feet to the fire is you gave me your top 5 last week, and the team
and I changed
number 1.
I changed it.
You had it number 1, didn't lose.
I changed it because I had to go do more research. I changed it.
Okay.
I changed it. I know I changed it.
That's fine. That's fine. You're entitled to change it. You're entitled to change it. Here's what I have to say.
I think I just moved them to number 3. That's all. They're fine.
All right. So you're saying right now in Chicago, Illinois, let's just say, right in the middle, you got the Broncos and the Steelers meeting up. You think Pittsburgh's beating them?
In Chicago, Illinois?
Yeah, a neutral field.
Neutral field. Luckily in the NFL, we don't play those type of games, so I would never have to make that decision.
They do in the Super Bowl. They do in the Super Bowl. But go ahead. Who are you taking?
Right now?
Yeah.
I'm not in love with Pittsburgh's defense. That's my thing.
Uh-huh.
The offense is absolutely amazing.
You don't think that Denver has enough corner to cover all them Steeler receivers? Think about it.
I don't know because you see the thing about Denver fans, they're so accustomed to when Vaughn gets to the quarterback. Vaughn only weighs about 130 pounds, so when he gets to the quarterback, he's not going to tackle this one.
Okay.
So that leaves a receiver wide open.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that you like to place wagers every now and then. So if you had to put a little wager on that,
just every now and then.
It's every now and then. If you had to put a wager on that matchup, just between the Broncos and the Steelers, who are you taking?
Right now.
Awful quiet over there. Awful quiet over there in Orlando.
Oh man, dude, I don't. Where are they playing at? You say in Soldier Field?
They can play right in Orlando for all I care. Denver's a better football team than the Steelers. They are. Period. I don't care. They're a better football team.
That coming from you holds no weight to me.
That's fine. It doesn't have to. But across
you're a homer.
The back end,
everybody knows this. You're a homer.
That's fine. You could call
You're
me a homer.
You're going to always say the Broncos are going to win everything.
No, listen. I have the Patriots ahead of the Broncos on my ranking. I agree with you there, even though I think the Broncos have a better roster. And I asked you this question off air. If you take away Tom Brady, which we all concede is a better quarterback, and Gronkowski is a better tight end than anybody that Denver has, name another position that you're going to replace with a Patriot over a Bronco. You're not going to. Our receivers are better. Our line is better. Our defense is better. Our secondary is better.
I said the safety.
What safety? Over a Pro Bowler T.J. Ward? You take a T.J. Ward out, who's a Pro Bowler?
Safety. See, you're bringing up conversations from weeks ago, so I can't just...
All right, but listen, I agree with you. As a whole, the Patriots are very well coached. They bring it every week. They're tough out. I agree with you.
McCourty would start on the Broncos every day of the week.
Over Darius Stewart?
Every day of the week.
Okay,
you got one.
Okay, you got one.
McCourty started.
Okay, I agree with you. You got one. And I maybe would take Jamal Sheard over Jared Crick on the 5 technique. I would take Sheard over Crick. So that's 2. I'll give you 2. But the point being is that's how much weight we put in Belichick and in McDaniels. They game plan and strategize, and they have their team prepared to beat you. They're a good football team. There is no doubt whatsoever. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They will go 11-5 with or without Tom Brady. They've proven it. They will be just fine with Jimmy Garoppolo. They've proven that. So I agree with you. Right now, I think they are the best team. However, if the field goal kicker in Arizona makes his kick, they're 0-1. If the field goal kicker in Carolina makes his kick, the Broncos are 0-1.
0-1.
So
yes.
It's a fine line between wins and losses. But
absolutely. But a win is a win and a loss is a loss.
It is. But I just don't think the Steelers are the second best team in football right now. They're good, but they're not the second best team in football. They may be in there 3 or 4, maybe 5, but they're not the second best team.
If they win this week, they're definitely the second best team.
And that's fine. They got weapons. They can beat you. I totally agree. They're a good.
And like I say, they're going
to
second and third weapons. Just the same way New England is, they're doing the exact same thing. They're well coached.
Yeah.
That's a well coached bunch over there.
I agree, but so is Denver. Just like you saw against the Panthers, that second half adjustment, Carolina scored 3 points in the second half. 3. 1 field goal.
I agree with you on that. I put them at 3 speed. That's not disrespect.
Oh, I know. That's the only. I like your list. You asked me what I thought. I think it's a good list, but I think you have the Steelers a little bit too high for my liking. And okay. I would put the Giants a little higher than 14. I think the Giants are a little bit better. I would probably put the Giants behind the Raiders on your list.
You serious?
I think the Giants. They look at their
beat the Dallas Cowboys with no Tony Romo. Come on, dude.
I know, but look at their passing attack. They got good weapons. You got Cruz. You got Odell Beckham Jr. You got the rookie Shepard. You got a lot of good passing weapons. I mean, Eli is a good enough quarterback to get the ball to the appropriate receiver. So I think that they have what it takes offensively. The question marks that I have are on defense. Now, if that secondary can gel a little bit better, they brought Janoris Jenkins in. He paid him good money in free agency. They went out and got Vernon from Miami, paid him good money in free agency. You put JPP, who's healthy, back with all 8 fingers, and if he can do something, they got the pieces. They just got to do it. So I don't know. I just think that the Giants have something brewing. I'm not willing to say that they're, the best team in the NFC or nothing like that, but I just think that they're a little bit better. I think they're better than the Lions. I think they would beat Detroit. That's how I look at it. When I do a ranking, I say, would this team beat that team? And I think the Giants would beat Detroit. I think it would be a good matchup versus the...
I'm being serious. I don't see the Giants beating Detroit.
Well, that's why you put them at 14, which is fine. Hey, that's your list. That's Fabe's Fine 15, and you did a great job. I think you did a good job. All in all, I salute you. Good job. We'll see next week. Every Friday, we're going to have Fabe's Fine 15, and we'll see next week where the chips fall. I'm going to keep a list, and every week I'll remind you of how much these teams are shifting around. But you did good.
Every week they should shift around. Teams are going to lose and win.
Of course.
I don't expect my 15 to stay the top 15 all year.
And I think the Panthers are going to jump up big time. And I think the Seahawks may fall a little. Seahawks don't look good to me right now. They look like a team who's holding on.
But I gotta respect the process.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. We'll see. We both have the Broncos winning pretty big this week, so that'll be since December 20th is the last time they lost. That's quite a long time.
It is, dude. I swear it is. But this isn't a show for the Broncos.
I didn't say it was. I'm just saying.
At
Throwing
some
that out
point
there.
in this show, you're going to have to say something bad about the Broncos.
Oh, I already have. I already told you that I don't think they win the Super Bowl with their quarterback they currently have.
That's
I already
not
said that.
saying something bad.
Well, how is it not? They're
Not
Super Bowl
saying-
champions.
No.
The
No,
only
it's
change
going to be
that-
31 other teams that don't win the Super Bowl.
The only change that Denver has this year is, well, two. Well, aside from the offensive line, is the quarterback. And they brought in a fullback. With Peyton being gone, now you can bring in the kid from Nebraska who can come in and lay people out because Peyton doesn't work with a fullback. So you'll see some differences there. But other than that, it's the same roster. And the same defense except for Malik Jackson. And, I think that was a drop-off too. I think we saw that.
Y'all lost my guy.
Danny
y'all
Trevathan.
lost Trevathan too. The best cover guy y'all had.
Yeah, he was good, best cover guy we had at linebacker.
Best
But Todd
linebacker,
Davis
best linebacker cover guy y'all had.
Yep, true. Todd Davis is good though. He doesn't. That's not a huge drop off there. He's a good linebacker.
We shall
He's
see.
a good player.
1 week
But
is going to tell me.
No, but I think that the drop off, the biggest drop off, is that 5 technique because what you saw last week, and I watched the game again on DVR, was this Jared Crick that they got from the Texans. He only commands single. He only commands single blocks though. Yeah, but he only commands single blocks. And against Malik Jackson commanded double teams. So when you had to double team Jackson, that meant you could not double team the outside linebacker who was next to him, whether it was Ware or whether it was Von Miller. So those guys weren't getting double teamed. They couldn't because you couldn't single block Jackson. He's too big and too strong. You always gotta double the bigger guy, right? I mean, you got to. So
no, you gotta double the better guy.
Well, they're both big and they're
both of us are good friends with Warren Sapp. Was he ever the biggest guy on the defensive line?
Well, he was the under tackle. He was
always the smallest guy on the defensive line. So therefore, you gotta double the best guy. He was the best guy on the defensive line.
And he still get 10, 12 sacks.
16.
I know.
16 sacks from the 3 technique. That's nuts. That's nuts.
That is nuts. He was that good.
He was that good. I still tell people, anytime somebody asks me, the best 3 technique ever in the history of football is Warren Sapp. It's simple to me. I don't even think it's a debate.
But the funny thing is he won't even put himself in the top 3.
No, he gives the guy from the other guy from Orlando the number 1 3 technique. Oh my God, who was it?
The guy who played for the Vikings forever, not John Randall.
Nah,
Randall.
I don't give John Randall because John played defensive end and 3 technique. So he never. I've talked to him about that right there. He never gives John Randall over him. But what he does say it's Deacon Jones.
Yeah.
Deacon Jones. He said Deacon Jones is better than him.
And the late great Jerome Brown.
Yeah, Jerome Brown was very good also. Yes.
Yeah, he gives him a lot of love. And rightfully so. Jerome Brown was a monster.
I played with the big fella for a little while, and I didn't give him credit for being the best until he retired because I just don't. That's a lot to say you're the best and you're still playing versus there's some guys who done put in work and they did it. But bro, you go through his history, man. The big fella, 9'9" in Tampa Bay, dude. Nobody wanted to see that 3 technique right there. That was a mean son of a gun, bro.
Oh, no doubt about it.
I used to love watching him play. And what he did for me was, I always say he's like the big bro. He's like the guy who took me on his wing, everything. It was like, growing up, I was a huge Tampa Bay fan. So obviously I was a huge fan of his. And when I got to play with him, one of the things I did was one of the first things I did was like, dude, I need your jersey. Now, us playing with the Raiders, to get his jersey would be very simple. Just walk in the equipment room, tell the equipment manager, hey, I need a Warren Sapp jersey. I get it signed. Hey, I didn't want that jersey. I said I need the creamsicle Tampa Bay jersey. He was like, all right, I'm going to see what I can do. I don't know where I'm going to find one of those at, but I'm going to see what I can do. Dude, right before he retired, it was our last game. Was it our last game or the game before? It was something like that. And he walked, right before the game, he walked in and gave me that jersey. I was like, dude, you don't understand how much I appreciate this jersey. That was a huge blessing to me, dude, because I've been a fan of his for so long. And to get that jersey, I didn't want the new pewter and whatever color they are. I didn't want that. I wanted, when I was a kid going to Raymond James Stadium, the Big Sombrero. When I was going to the Big Sombrero, when those guys were just getting started, him, Brooks, Lynch, and Sapp, Brooks, and Lynch, when they was first getting started, that was something that was special to my heart. So I wanted that jersey, and man, when he gave it to me signed, it was special, man. Still have that jersey, never letting it go. That's something near and dear to my heart because the big fella, he always looked out for me, even when, like I said, when I first got to Oakland. One of the things that he first said when I first got there, oh, you're a Florida boy? Okay. And that's crazy because Florida boys, we stick together no matter what. We're going to stick together.
Big time.
So that was the thing. I'm talking about, I remember, like, it was the first day I got there. I'm the first round draft pick, and he was like, oh, you're a Florida boy? Oh, I'm with you. Even though I went to Nebraska, and you know that rivalry between the U and Nebraska is nuts. It's nuts. I think if I'm right, Miami has won 3 national championships off of the back of Nebraska. So it's like, what the heck? Dude, hey, that rivalry is tough. And the thing about it, we only get to play once every so often, but at the same time, when we do, it usually means something other than the last 2 years when neither one of those games meant anything. But usually in the previous years, all of those games meant something. It usually meant national championship because that's usually where we met up at. I did the calculation. So it's like, it's a huge rivalry. And like I say, for him to respect me, even me being a Florida boy, but I come from Nebraska, he took me on this wing. I respect the big fella, man. That's why I'm always call him the best 3 technique ever. The stats back up that he's the best 3 technique ever, man. I know we're coming close to the end of the show. What else you want to talk about, Steve-O?
Well, whatever's good. One thing I was going to say about the big fella is he, along with you, he has probably taught me more about the game of football than anybody I've ever talked football with. I mean, literally, there will be times where I will be in football conversations with people, when I was back blogging and trying to write articles about football, and I didn't quite understand all of the verbiage and all this, that, and the other. And anytime I would text him and ask him a question, he would call me. He wouldn't text me back. He would just call me. And we would end up on the phone for an hour and a half, and he's explaining everything. I mean, like, just throwing all this knowledge at me like I was writing notes down like I was a student. And he's just talking, just right off the tip of his tongue, but he knows so much about the game. And he's talking about this is what happens when this happens, and, this is why an under tackle is going to do this technique in this situation, because if he doesn't, talking about when he first came to when he first came to the Raiders, and they played a certain gap, and he had to talk to the coordinator about you can't play this gap awareness with this gap responsibility because it doesn't work unless this guy does this and this guy does that. And his football brain is phenomenal. I mean, he taught me a lot, and I respect him for doing that because he didn't have to. He didn't have to, pick up and call me and tell me, whatever, I just texted him right now. I said, hey, if you're not busy, give us a call in. We're talking about you. He said, I wish. I'm at a birthday party right now. Sent me a picture of a big old fish.
That's him. Oh yeah,
you know,
he said, hey, what's that TV show, man? Where they catch fish and crabs and
yeah,
stuff.
the tuna,
the biggest
wicked
catch
tuna.
or something like.
Oh yeah,
tuna.
yeah.
And he thinks he's dead now, man. The dude is full blown fisherman right now, man. I'm like,
oh, I know.
This dude is crazy, man.
Getting bit
Going
by
out
a shark.
in the middle of nowhere just catching fish. No way.
I know. We went out. It was probably first preseason game, I think it was, and he was here in Fort Myers, so he sends me a text. Hey, I'm in your city. Come meet up. We're over at Hooters eating some wings or whatever. So I go there. We start talking. First thing he did, show me a shark bite. He's like, look, I got bit by a shark. I said, I know. I heard about it on the news. The next thing he did is handed me his Hall of Fame ring. Let me hold it and take a picture with it. And that was something special, too. So, he's got the hardware. Like you said, first ballot Hall of Famer. We'll have him on the show. He'll be on. He'll drop some knowledge. It's just a matter of time before he comes on and kicks it with us. Like you said, Florida boys stick together. But anyway, if anybody wants to call in, we got a few minutes left. Again, the phone number is 323-642-1707. You got a question, a comment? For our boy Chris, I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to say something. Where you at, Cat Daddy?
Yeah, he always has something to
dying.
say.
Yeah, he's dying.
Or he'll text me tomorrow. Why didn't y'all talk about this? I'm like, Chris, that wasn't
crazy.
on the agenda. he wants me to he wants me to talk about everything that he's thinking about. I'm like, dude, you might want to text it to me first. And then I run it by Steve, and we can get it done.
Just call in and ask the question.
Yeah, man,
I mean, like we said, it's like a barbershop here. If I don't know you guys ever hang out at barbershops, but it's just a big old community of good people getting together, talking football, talking sports. There ain't no hate. We don't play that arguing just for the sake of argue. We just talk football so you enjoy it, laugh a little. We keep things light. Florida boy style. It's all love. There's none of this, just a debate for debate's sake, like some networks try to do. If we disagree, we'll disagree, and we get heated, And sometimes you'll hear us arguing and think we're fighting. That's just how we talk sometimes. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Exactly. I was just about to say that's just the way we talk. Hey, trust me, it's no animosity. It's just that's the way we talk.
It's like people sit there. I remember one time I was talking to some of Miami friends who are Florida Gators, and we get into it, boy. We're going at it. My wife's like, man, you guys gonna fight? I'm like, no, these are like my best friends.
Dude,
what are you talking about?
People don't understand it until they come here to Florida and just see. Maybe Texas. I think Texas can get a real understanding of it because they have a lot of major Division I football teams. But Florida, dude, we have so many good Division I football teams, and you got everybody like passionate about their school. I'm a Nebraska fan, so when they get in arguments, I'm just neutral. I'm like, I don't give a I don't care what y'all talk about. I'm Nebraska. Nebraska's going to win Saturday. That's my thing.
Yeah. But even though I did see you wearing some Florida State gear the other day, but I guess we won't talk about that.
I had to, Steve.
Yeah, you had to.
When your girl, all right. Let's explain this first of all, because I don't wear any school's gear other than my own. But I was forced to wear Florida State's gear when they played Ole Miss, and I didn't mind because my girlfriend wears my gear all the time. She'll put on that in like no other. So, I said, okay, this is the one and only time, especially, Florida State was playing in Orlando. We're going tailgate and all this right here. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I did it for her sake, not my sake. I came home and took that crap right off. That's not me. No, that's not me.
Crap right off.
No,
that's funny.
I'm a Husker till I die. Like literally.
Yes, you should be.
I love my school.
I
love my school, man. Hey, and we will get a big win tomorrow versus Oregon.
Oof.
That's
You better
gonna be
stop.
a-
You better stop that Rolls Royce, boy. That's priority
We gotta
number
stop
one.
the Rolls Royce. That's the only thing. Hey, if we could slow down the Rolls Royce, we'll win. But hey,
Oof.
I
He's a
see
good-looking
our
running
time
back.
is coming to an end, so we're not going to be able to talk college football, even though we are going to expand ourselves to start talking about college football. The night is not the night. Florida Boy Sports, we had a phenomenal night of talking NFL football. Anything you have to add, Steve-O?
Nope. I think we're good, Fabe. As always, love working with you, my man. I'll see you Tuesday night.
Absolutely.
Florida Boy Sports.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming and I'm loud. Roar!
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything.
Fashion Emergency Hotline.
Help! I got rid of all my clothes.
Breathe and explain.
During Fashion Week, everyone looked fantastic, so I decided I needed a new wardrobe.
Well, strut to Old Navy.
Old Navy?
Yes, they have gorgeous floral tops and super on-trend pixie pants to turn your sidewalk into a catwalk. And right now, pixie pants are just $25.
$25?
Yep, right now, pants and tops at Old Navy are 30 to 50% off.
30 to 50% off? Amazing. Thank you.
Don't thank me, thank Old Navy. Valid 9/15 to 9/23. Excludes denim and active pants.